right, welcome everyone. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Education. It's Monday, April 25th, 6:05 p.m. Let the record show that all board members are present. Before you board, you have an agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's approved. Please join me and rise for our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the agenda, we have recognitions. Turn it over to Dr. Glass.
Yeah, Terrific Tiger time. We are pleased to recognize our April Terrific Tigers. These are students from each of our buildings that have been selected to receive the award based on their service to others, their leadership, and their scholarship. Parents, we know how important your role is in their life, and we ask you to stand to be recognized as well as we call each student forward to be recognized. After they're recognized, we'll ask them to step to the side and we'll take a group shot at the end. All right?
Elma Schroeder Elementary. Lee McFerrin, second grade daughter of Alyssa and Ross McFerrin. Lee is an all-round awesome student. She's always on task and follows directions quickly. She is friendly and respectful to her peers and staff members. Lee is always willing to help a hand to those in need. Lee is a perfect example of a terrific tiger.
Congratulations.
Big smiles this way. Excellent. Thank you.
Blanchard Elementary, Corey Arians, second grade daughter of Skylar Carter and Ryan Arians. Corey is a true example of a terrific Tiger student. She's a very hard-working and determined student and is consistently kind and helpful to her peers. Corey can always be counted on in any situation and is a true example of a model student.
I want to take a picture with her.
Well, come on, if you want to take a picture up here. There you go.
Future Terrific Tiger.
Clifford Elementary, Zephaniah Doris, fourth grade son of Marquita and Joshua Doris. Zephaniah is an outstanding student. He's very respectful, kind, and considerate to his teachers and peers. He will go out of his way to help anyone in need. He always tries his hardest and sets a great example on how to follow the Girardeau expectations in all areas. Zephaniah is a great example of a Clifford terrific tiger.
Deciding that it is. There we go. I think, yeah, you broke it, man. Okay, I think we got one.
Franklin Elementary, Samantha Ulrich, fourth grade daughter of Miss Danielle Tharp and Tyler Dodd. Is Samantha not here? Okay. Jefferson Elementary, Camden Amex, fifth grade son of Kaylee and Corey Quintana. Camden works hard each and every day. He completes all his work in a timely manner, along with extra assignments. Camden follows classroom and building expectations and is a tremendous helper. He has perfect attendance for the 21-22 school year, is on the honor roll, and has received the Jefferson Award each quarter. Camden is an honor to have at Jefferson Elementary. Central Middle School, Sydney McCullough, sixth grade daughter of Hannah and Tyler McCullough. Sydney is the roaring CMS student for the month of April. Sydney is a student who's always on task and gets the job done. She can be counted on to follow any directions, whether in the classroom or outside of the classroom. She is truly appreciated here at CMS. Sydney, continue roaring as you depart CMS and enter CJHS. Terry W. Kitchen Junior High, Marcus Henson Moore, eighth grade son of Amanda Henson. Not here. We'll clap anyways. Central High School, Elizabeth Ogburn, 12th grade daughter of Meredith and Alexander Ogburn.
Nope.
And then Central Academy, Blake Burgess, 6th grade son of Samantha Fiore and Cody Johnson. Then catching up from March, Central High School, Jackson Rustin, 12th grade son of Martha and Mark Rustin. And Central Academy, Janiyah Brand, 10th grade daughter of Crystal Dupree. No?
We had a good run, they drowned.
Yeah.
Do you want that stool for your butt? Do you want that stool for your butt later? He's like,
Starting off well.
That's right. All right, guys, everybody, big smiles this way for me.
okay.
Great job.
All right, if that's all the recognitions, we can move on. Next up is information proposals from, or comments from the audience. This week we have Dr. Joe Gilgore with Mineral Area College.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Russ, and there's 4 things there. And there's way too many than you need, so I'll get right in. Where do you want me to go?
If you want to go to the podium, grab the mic, walk around if you'd like.
Whatever makes you comfortable.
Well, I can stand here, or I can see. I don't know if it's not working. Well, thanks for having me. I don't know how much time I have. Is there a set time I'm supposed to go?
No set time.
No set time.
Okay. Well, I'm Dr. Joe Gilgore, president of Mineral Area College, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you, the board, about our proposal to be in the city, and so I wanted to give you some just kind of a brief background information. I think you're probably all aware of where we're at on that, and then really just open up for questions and see if I can answer anything. There's a whole bunch of misinformation out in the world about this proposal, and so if I can clear anything up, I really want to take a chance to do that. But so, gosh, we've been in conversation with people in Cape Girardeau for 2.5 years now. Probably, I'm guessing COVID made that longer. I don't know. Maybe it would normally take 2.5 years. But we've been trying to work with the community. As you all probably know, the community's been wanting a community college for technical programs, especially for the past 20 years, however long it's been. And so, we've came in and tried to be a part of that conversation as an option. There was a committee for affordable technical education that did some surveys and things. They were looking at the possibility of a new community college. As you know, a 13th community college. There's 12 already in the state. This would be a 13th. The survey recommended not doing a 13th because there's already 12 in the state. And so we're one of those 12, and us and Three Rivers Community College are the closest community colleges to Cape. So, we were really close. We actually already served the county a little bit in the town. So, fast forward a lot, we changed service regions a little bit. Those 12 community colleges all have service regions. Every inch of Missouri is in a community college service region. And Three Rivers was the service provider for Cape County, and that changed on February 15th, I believe, of this year, where now it's Mineral Area College. So that means that as of the end of this semester, Three Rivers will be leaving the Cape College Center. They're going to finish up the classes that are going on right now. And so we are making a proposal to the state to offer programming here. We'd really like to do a little more than the Cape College Center. The feedback we're getting from a lot of schools, including Cape Girardeau, is that it's really confusing for students. And honestly, as a first-generation college student myself, and how confusing that was, I don't want to make it confusing for any college students any more than it has to be, and it's already a confusing process to many. So we're proposing, a comprehensive community college where we would be in town offering general education and help those students in the technical degrees finish their degrees. We already articulate that credit, but they can't take the general education courses with us because at the moment we're not approved to do general education in Cape Girardeau County. So, we made a request to do that February 28th, put it in the state. That opened up a 20-day public comment period. There were 141 individuals. There were about 160 comments, but 141 individuals all in support of this, which was overwhelming. The state said it's the most support they've ever had for any program request, which speaks to your community. Those all came from people, maybe some of you, I don't know, but it came from your community. And then there was one letter of opposition. And so we're trying to address that now, going through the process with the state. The state's asked that we do some mediation with the university. It was their letter of opposition. And so we're working with them in May, to meet with a mediator and try to work out some sort of compromise, or we can coexist in the same town. And I tell you that I don't know how familiar you are with other communities in Missouri that have universities and community colleges in the same town, but it works. It works really, really well. Springfield's a great example. Ozarks Technical Community College transfers 60% of their students to Missouri State University, and they're right across the street from each other. Typically, they might compete over students every once in a while, but for the most part, OTC is really after a different population than the university is. It's the same thing for Mineral Area College. And we see that needs assessment survey that said 40% of high school students are not going to college. That concerns us, and we want to help with that. But what I've heard in my experience is that students say, I don't want to go to college, I want to be a welder. Well, that's where community colleges come in, because we do training for that, and that's where the technical programs can happen. So we can do certifications, help students get those degrees. But you also have students that don't go to college because they can't afford to go to college, or maybe academically they need a little work. And so that's also where community colleges come in. We're open access, we accept A+, and so a student can go to, our tuition is under the A+ max by a lot, and so students can go to Mineral Area College, and I think any community college in the state, actually, and pretty much go for free in that situation. There's books you have to pay for, but for the most part, your tuition is covered. So, we want to provide that. As of June 1st, A+ in Cape Girardeau goes away once Three Rivers leaves the county. And so, because SEMO, universities can't accept A+. And so we want to be that provider. We want to be here for that. So I'm hoping there's a decision by June 1st so we can move in and start offering some programming. In the meantime, we are offering, you can see it in front of you, there's a voucher there. So students that are here, that are seniors, who are expecting to go to a community college, obviously they had nothing to do with Three Rivers leaving, they can still go to Mineral Area College and use their A+. Right at the moment, it has to be online because we're not authorized yet, or our Perryville campus, which I know is 30 minutes away, so it's not necessarily convenient. But the online will waive the online fee, so the cost is the same for them if they were on ground here or whatever. It doesn't matter. I know online's not always a preference. Some people it'll work out for, but we want to make sure if students want to use their A+, they have a chance to do that. It's a promise the state of Missouri made, and we feel like they need to keep that promise held up to these students. So that's one thing in front of you. Another's frequently asked questions that we've distributed. We distributed that voucher actually today to all of the counselors in schools that do sending schools to the CTC here. And so we've got some really good feedback on that. And then the other one is a map of the service region. You can see our service region's really funky looking. It goes all the way out to Texas County and Houston, and then down now in Cape Girardeau. So the yellow part is our service region. The blue part is our taxing district. And this is not a taxing district in Cape Girardeau. That's not what we're asking for. So it's basically our proposal is tax-free community college right here that's affordable and accessible to students. And like I said, coming from a first-generation college student, I had a single parent at home that worked 2 jobs to support me and my sister. We were poor, and without education, I wouldn't be standing before you right now. Now, I didn't go to a community college. That's my mistake. I'm also drowning in debt because of that. But that's a whole other subject. But without education, I wouldn't be here. And every day in my job, it's why I love community colleges. I see students that were just like me as I was growing up that didn't have any idea what they wanted to do. And all they had to do is get their foot in the door. And maybe they go to the university. Maybe they go to work, whatever. But they have that path that maybe they didn't have before. So that's my spiel. But I can answer any questions you may have about the process. If there's anything that you've heard that you want me to help clarify, I'm happy to try to do that. I've heard all kinds of things that are not accurate, but I'm happy to help out as much as I can.
I have a question. Do you have a sense of the numbers, like without A+ money kind of coming into a vehicle to go to community college, do you have a sense of how different Cape Girardeau looks relative to other places that might have more access to community college locally than we've had historically here, with kind of Three Rivers as the partner in the servicing district?
Yeah. Well, if I understand your question, I think that you see in communities where universities and community colleges both are there, you see a lot of growth in the communities. Industries come in because community colleges are training a lot of workers to go to work, so you see growth in those areas. Springfield's grown for all kinds of reasons, but they attribute some of their growth to that, having a lot of education options. That survey that the committee did said that people 15 to 29 are going to be, that population is going to drop in the county over the next, I think, 10 years. I remember it was. I don't see that as a reason not to have more education. I think that's part of the problem. I think some of those people are leaving to go to college elsewhere. And you can go to a community college in Poplar Bluff, Park Hills, Missouri, and use A+, but you leave the county. And I mentioned, Texas County out in Houston, which is a totally different community, a lot smaller, very, very poor. But their problem is people leave to go to college and they never come back. They can't grow their own teachers, their own nurses. They can't keep anybody there, and that's the problem. And I think that you see that growth in communities. Again, communities grow for all kinds of reasons, but that's definitely a factor that can help, having that educational opportunity.
Do you see, I did a bad job asking earlier, I wanted to know, do you see a higher percentage of students right now who come out of Farmington or Park Hills High School using A+ money than we see here? Do you have access to our data? I
don't have access to the data here of how many use it. Just based on the number of students that go to the Cape College Center, I see way more students up in my area that use A+ funding. And I don't know how many students, on a slightly different topic, I don't know how many students you have that graduate with their associate's degree and their high school diploma in the same day. You don't have that?
Have any.
That's a regular occurrence. I mean, hundreds of students up in St. Francis County will do theirs during the same time. And so, just that access point. But I'm not sure how many students here use A+ in general. But the Cape College Center had 79 students in it, and I think the majority of them were using A+. But overwhelmingly up in St. Francis County, we see A+. Any other questions?
No other questions?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
I really want to stick around for the rest of your meeting. I love it's a nerd thing, but I love school board meetings. But I got an hour and a half drive, so I'm going to go ahead and head back. Sure. And the weather's not that bad. Every time I come here, the weather gets horrible, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here before the storm comes in, apparently. But thank you all seriously for your time. My business card went around. My cell phone's on there. Anytime you have a question, somebody asks you a question, and you want to give them my number, please do so. I'm happy to help out and answer any questions that I can.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Dr. Gilgore requested to speak to us tonight. I appreciate that. I want to thank him for all he's doing for this county and trying to provide additional educational opportunities for our students, access, affordability, and opportunity. And I can't thank him enough for what he's doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, next up is informational reports. First is the board president's report. This is my first time sitting here, so I feel like I'm going to report something. There's 2 events that are coming up. I don't know if I'm stealing any thunder from your report.
Go ahead.
But I'll just briefly mention 2 of my favorite things, one being the Oscars night, where teachers and staff members are given the ability to be recognized by their peers. And the other one is actually my favorite thing to go to. I never liked going to graduation when it was my own, but there's something about getting to watch kids walk across the stage. So looking forward to that.
You stole a little bit.
A little bit. I figured you'd probably say something about that.
It's hard to believe that we're down to less than a month left of school. And I know teachers can tell you down to the day, and students can probably tell you down to that hour of when they'll be getting out, but it is quickly approaching. There's a lot of exciting things, a lot of hectic things going on out there. Obviously, graduation is one of those, scheduled for Friday, May 20th. That's a date that we can all circle around our calendars. It's why we do what we do in education. It's to get those kids to walk across the stage and to push them on to the next chapter in life, and hopefully that we've done our job to make them successful out there, not only in this community, but any community they may take a part of. And we're very, very proud of that. CHS did celebrate their Senior Decision Day last Friday. Huge success. The Southeast Missourian did a wonderful job covering that. We appreciate that. The seniors were able to share their post-secondary plans with their peers, the newspaper, and we actually featured one of our bright senior who is joining the Air Force after being selected for an elite para-rescue branch. Only about 2% of recruits end up being selected for the special operations, and that's pretty impressive. Lastly tonight, I want to bring up the fact that it is time that we start looking at our CSIP plan, and that's our Comprehensive School Improvement Plan. Last time we did that was in 2017. It was involved multiple stakeholders from lots of different groups, but it primarily focused on education and what our why was, and why we do what we do for this community, for our parents, and for our children. And so we're going to be doing that, in the next coming months, couple months, 3 months, over the summer. We're going to be taking a look at our CSIP. I've reached out to a couple different companies to help us guide us through that practice that I think will be very valuable. We need to incorporate the new MSIP requirements, Missouri School Improvement Plan requirements. It's called MSIP 6. You'll be hearing more about that as we go through the process. And incorporating that in our CSIP plan, and also all the other components that we want to see in this. So we've got our current document that has been our guiding light and our compass for the past 5 years. We want to kind of explode that and take the pieces that we haven't quite accomplished, we want to still see in there, and then we're going to add some of the new concepts and some of the new directions that this board wants to see as a guiding light as we move forward for the next 3 to 5 years. So it's a very important time in our school and chapter that really sets the tone for the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years. So very excited about that. There'll be more information. I'll communicate those next steps as we move closer to the time. And with that said, that's about all I got.
Yeah, anybody any questions for Dr. Glass?
On the CSIP, do you see it being a similar process to the last one where we have community focus groups?
Oh, definitely, yes. Yeah, I think that was one of the most valuable things that we got exposure to, was just hearing the different community members speak and what they want to see, how they want to see this school district progress.
You weren't on the board yet, were you, Jared?
No, I don't think so.
So I guess I'm the only board member that was here when that document was produced.
And I think that's the exciting
Yeah.
thing, is that now that we're such a young board, that everybody's going to feel invested in that process.
Yeah.
And there will be a lot of interest, from different civic groups to business leaders, to parents, to other organizations. I mean, it is an all-encompassing process that involves a lot of different people, a lot of different opinions, and really sets the course for the next 3 to 5 years.
Anybody else? Good. All right, next up, program evaluations. The early childhood programs and the programs for migrant students programs evaluations were posted online. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Keys or Ms. Turner? If not, academic services report. Got one of those.
We're going to roll that into with Mr. Russell with instructional technology, because we've been working with him on, you can really keep that microphone for you. I'm going to let you do the presentation, and I'll just support you in your work. Let's go for it.
I'm actually going to come back over here so I can see the screen. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I know, right? When I started this job, I didn't have to have readers, but now I do. So the first part that I want to talk about tonight is our new website. Kristen has been spearheading this, but we're getting very close. We are switching providers here in the next couple of months, and we've had multiple meetings about this already, and it's going to be really nice because right now the provider that we're currently using, it's a little bit difficult to get information out. And so this new company will allow us to not only post to the regular school website, but also to social media at the same time. And that was a long process just to get one message out. And so we're cutting that down to one-stop shop. And it'll make it easier for our buildings to be able to communicate without having to go through multiple people and take a lot of time. Lots of school districts around have switched to this provider. So if you go to Dexter or to Perryville, St. John, Hillsboro, a lot of schools are starting to switch to this one because it's for teachers by teachers. So far it's been really good. So we're really looking forward to it. So that's the first part of that. The second part of that, so that's the outward-facing website. And one thing that, if you've been around school long enough, you know that it's a very complex beast. And all of the information that is for every school, every grade level, all of that is spread out all over Google for us and Google Drives that are shared all over the place. Some of it's on the website, some of it's still on paper, and so what we're trying to do, we're going to bring in a tool called KB that will actually pull in documents from anywhere and put it into one searchable user base database for us. And so that's something that we have struggled with in the past just because there's so much, like I said, so much information and things change all the time. This will give us one place internally that will help us to kind of put all that together. And so really excited about that because it's already all there. We just have to put it in one place for people to find. And then lastly, the big one is KickUp. And you guys have seen KickUp over the last few years because of our CSIP plan and the data collection that we've done every year for that. This same company also offers tools that help us to schedule and offer PD opportunities to teachers in a way that isn't just on our PD days. So if a teacher wants to learn how to do something, we've had Tiger Straps in the past, but this works outside of just online tools as well. And so, for example, PD sessions this summer that I'm offering, we're already starting to put those in there as the test objects, and so people can go and sign up just like you would Eventbrite or something like that to get tickets. And then also keep track of everything, and also do our surveys for all of that. And so every single little thing that we do with PD, we'll be able to measure how effective it is, how valued it is, things like that. It also has a couple of other pieces with it, which is coaching and evaluations. And so those tools will also be rolled into that. And so, if a teacher has a PGP goal and there's some PD opportunities that we can make sure that they get around those can be added there as well. And so we're going to be switching over to that this summer and doing lots of training on all those. I don't know if there's anything else that...
Yeah, I think in the past we've had professional development has been like this column over here. We've had the CSIP and feedback surveys been like this column all by itself. And then we've had teacher evaluations, and it's been all over here. And they've really been standalone procedures. And really they shouldn't be, right? Like receiving feedback and receiving coaching and receiving and your professional development along with your evaluation should all be intertwined. And so this has different strands that are kind of braided together. The anonymous surveys that we're doing can still continue to be anonymous. You just set them up where they're anonymous and you don't receive any feedback. But one thing that I have especially struggled with lately is trying to make sure that every time we have a PD event, we get feedback on that little specific event. It's been hard for me to remember to send all those out or to add that data, that event title in. And this will automatically happen. So they'll like sign up for a PD event that Jamie puts in or their building rep puts in. And then as soon as it's over, like at a certain time, they'll automatically get an email if they signed in like, oh, I'm here, I'm participating. They will get an email as soon as that's over saying, fill out this little 5-question survey to tell us how this event went. And so then we'll know immediately whether that was effective or not. It's going to be tied in on the backside, so as teachers move buildings, it's not on like me to go in and manually reassign that teacher from, 5th grade at middle school to something at the high school, which is right now, human people have to actually make all of those little switches. And so, obviously there's lag in it, there's mistakes made, there's, because this one's not like the financial pieces that we want to make sure get done. And so it's nice that it'll be tied in on the backside. So as soon as something gets updated on the financial side, then that person will automatically get reassigned to the correct location, like within a day, probably. So that will be nice to have all of that just tied into one place.
I forgot that these were on here, but just to show you guys on the PD part, this is a session, the first one that we're going to have this summer. I haven't even announced this to the staff yet, like I said, just putting these in. But they'll have a place to land here. They'll be able to go through and see on their PD day. They'll be able to filter for their building and see all of the things that are being offered that day, and choose that. And what's really cool is that, like I said earlier, it'll offer other options. And so one of the things is, if we put training into Canvas, for some kind of online PD sessions, we can offer that as options. And so a teacher or a staff member can create something in Canvas. We can throw it on here. They sign up for it. It's automatically ready to go, and we don't have to send that out. Make sure that they have access. It's all self-serve, and so that's going to be the nice part of it.
Is all of this accessible outside of the network? Like, can you get on this at your teacher? Get on this at their house?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, that's the nice thing.
It's Google-based, kind of, so they don't have to remember a new password.
Good.
That's the frequent complaint with Talent Ed is I don't know what my password is. Can you reset it for me? But they'll just log on with Google, and then it'll just log on through their, Turner-C at CapeTigers.com.
And then I wanted to share with you something that we were working on this week, and that is economics in elementary school. And so I don't know if you guys can remember back really far back to 2nd grade and learning about bartering and the bartering system. And so Ms. Tarabova's class was working on that this week, and they created, using a really cool tool online called Tinkercad, their own money or items for which that they wanted to barter. And so they did all the designing, and we did all the printing for them, and cleaning off of all the printing things, which is really fun and dangerous sometimes. But they had a blast. They got Tina got to go over today and take all of their bartering items, and they got to finish up their unit. And so they were really pumped about it, as you can see in the bottom right there. And so I wanted to share that as well. Yes. Yeah, and the kids design them. They made their own money. They just make shapes, and they can add text to it, and or they can steal some other items that are built in that they can take and manipulate. And so there's a little bit of everything. And so, all right, and that is all I have, unless you guys have any more questions.
Any questions? Nope. Thank you. Next up, we have CTA report.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Tyler Loppe, and I am currently the Vice President for CTA, reporting on behalf of our President. And so, speaking of officers, I have a few things I'm going to report on to you, and if you have any questions, let us know. But we did select some new officers and elect those at the beginning of the month. And so we have our president is Allie Balsman from Clippard. I'm the vice president from Jefferson Elementary. Our secretary is Robin McKinley, from Academy, Central Academy. Our treasurer is Amy Mays from Clippard. Our membership chair is Shannon Ritter from CHS. And our salary and welfare chairperson is Marcia Medlin from CHS as well. So we voted on a few things, and then last month, actually, I was going to let you know that I attended what we call our MSTA Regional Capital Day in Jefferson City. So I had an opportunity to speak with our Representative Hovis and Senator Rader. We had our spring banquet for MSTA just last week, actually, and so 3 teachers were attending that and were recognized for their retirement. And we also are working currently, myself and our membership chair is working for our spring membership renewal to try to entice our teachers to get that done and taken care of sooner rather than later. And so we're trying to incentivize our building reps with some candy bars, and that's been working pretty well, which is always a plus. We always need that extra boost every now and then, right? So I do have some shout outs that I was going to give out, some staff shout outs to different buildings, starting with our central office. We have a shout out to Miss Lane Glick. She not only assists Miss Keys, but also drives the school van when needed. She truly has whatever it takes spirit. At Clippard, they know there's so many people to pick from, but they wanted to give a shout out to the people that are willing to cover and step in if needed. Specifically, Mr. Matt and Mr. Mike, the custodians, work extra hard and are often short-handed. At the high school, Linda Davis has been working with her students as they prepared for contests. Patty Womble spends endless hours with our cheerleaders, making sure they know all their cheers and attending all the football and basketball games. They also at the high school had some Starfish winners announced. Those were Jessica Bellinger, Nancy Strothman, Micah Jazzow, Marsha Medlin, Kelly Dupes, Taylor Shivelbein, Patty Seamers, Hannah Romine, Mary LeGrand, Teresa Taylor, and Katie Anderson. At Jefferson, we were going to give some shout-outs. Our first-year counselor, Miss Chelsea, just goes above and beyond to support our students. She regularly meets with students in small groups, one-on-one sessions, and whole groups. She does a great job communicating with teachers on how to best support our students. We also have Mr. Brian Cook, a first-year teacher, as a second-grade teacher, that is, has been working very hard in development of our sensory garden. Things are starting to come together beautifully. So if you ever get a chance, come take a look at our sensory garden at Jefferson. At the junior high, Amy Matz, the WIN students love knitting with looms, but the pegs are fragile, so Ryan McKinstry 3D printed replacement pegs so the students could keep knitting. So that's pretty cool. Miss Belcher's class did a fundraiser for Max Mission. They completed the fundraiser for social studies and learned how they can help the community. So that is all I have for staff shout-outs. So does anyone have any questions for us? Well, we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Next up, we have Treasury Finance Report. Doesn't look like Ms. Dudek's here. Do you
I got it.
take that over?
Yes. We're in the process of starting to build next year's budget. The building budgets and some of the departmental budgets here have been submitted. We're starting to plug those in. The biggest component, obviously, is staff salaries. We'll be bringing that to the board May board meeting. And so it's just a long, lengthy process. And then when we get all the puzzle pieces together, we try to make a balance, start cutting where we need to, and make sure that all the numbers are accurate. And so it's just a challenge getting all that to match up. If I can read this, I don't have my glasses tonight. Beginning fund balance March 1st. We're still getting a few tax receipts in. Some of this is state revenue. But we've got an end fund balance of March 31st of $19.9 million. In our general fund, in our debt service fund, we have $5.4 million. Capital projects, $4.6. We've got some bond money that's still left. We've got 1.7, and trying to scroll over here, and 4.3, with a total fund balance $36 million. The investments detail is below. Any questions on that?
I have a transportation question. Would that be now or for support?
Depends if it has to do with money.
It does. So this past week, the city of Cape sent out letters to all of their residents that get solid waste disposal services, that they're starting to charge a surcharge on fuel. Have we seen anything like that?
I haven't seen the latest transportation.
Not yet. We've had those discussions. We may get to that point, but in our last contract negotiation, we locked in a fuel rate for this school year, and then that's redone each school year or fiscal year. So we have not reached that threshold yet to go into a surcharge. But
what is the threshold?
Well, it's a percentage. So it's kind of a moving target. So the best way to explain it is once we get over a certain percentage, of where we're locked in at, because we're locked in at a 260 fuel rate. And so once you've gone over a certain percentage, roughly 25% for X number of either weeks or months or a fiscal quarter, then that's where we're going to be hit with the surcharge. We have not gotten to that point yet. We're still talking about where that's going to hit, because we've got a third party involved in that discussion, who is the fuel company, that they lock in their rates. So depending upon how they keep their rates locked in, we may be better off hopefully getting through the school year. We've got roughly 20 days that we're hoping to keep kicking the can down the road, so to speak.
Do we have any contingencies like that built into the budget in case?
We always have.
Always do.
Thank you.
Good. Move along to support services report.
I have nothing else to report unless there's any questions. We had a dry day today. Our maintenance was out working outside.
That's always good.
Yes.
All right, next board reports, MSBA delegate report.
I do not have any big updates. Just pay attention. I think in June 11th-ish is the Ignite stuff that's going on up in St. Charles, I believe, where that is. So those enrollments will be coming up soon if you can make it, those kind of things. But other than that, no other big things. Lots of finalizing the legislation side. I'll be quiet on that. Somebody else gets to talk about that.
Yeah.
I hope he can probably go ahead. It's my rookie campaign on this, so I'm a little nervous after this. If there's super important stuff you want to talk about, Mr. Cook, now'd be a good time to just mention it.
No, I'd say read that House Bill 1858. Looks like an adventure. So I'd look into that one. That looks like a very tremendous, interesting adventure. So it passed the House, and it's going to the Senate now. So
The Transparency in Education Bill, I believe, is what Mr. Cook's referring to. No,
yes,
no. I think there's a couple things that are moving through. One on there's some charter school legislation that's kind of pushing through right now. That's passing the Senate. I think it's going to come back to the House as one to keep an eye on. And then there's a Parents' Bill of Rights that's being looked at being added into the state constitution. That's passed the House and is going to be coming back, or past the Senate and then come back to the House. And so a couple of things just to keep an eye on that are passing through. I think they're kind of running out of time in this legislative session to get anything done that's not pretty far along the tracks. But those are the ones that I saw that are interesting.
Very well.
That's all I got.
How many weeks do they have? 3? 3 weeks?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, if it's not already in the process.
Right, schedule. I think it's hard to get done.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Last is the foundation report.
And there's no report.
There's no report?
No report.
No reporting?
Things are pretty calm right now.
All right. Next, we'll move here to approval of consent agenda items, including minutes from previous meetings, March 28th and April 11th, the payment of bills, and approval of the 2023-24 academic calendar. Can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Please indicate by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? That carries. All right. Lastly, any other information or proposals from board members? Good? All right, then I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.